Lali-Ho, Randomania 2. Thanks for joining us this evening for the Lali-Ho League Swiss. We're in race week 6 here of the Swiss rounds, and we have an exciting race for you between Frostbite3030 and xPankraz. I'm Mike Clover, and we have on our restream today Neon Gray doing our tracking, so pushing all those buttons for us. Crimson Avix on restream, basically the only reason you can see us right now. And I'm joined in the virtual commentary booth by Tybalt. Welcome, Tybalt. Excited for our race tonight?
Oh, definitely excited for this race. It is going to be an elimination. Winner gets to go into brackets, and the loser, unfortunately, did their best.
Yeah, definitely. But two really good runners here, so I'm expecting a very, very fun, exciting race. Hopefully, it'll be a close one. Keep us all guessing right to the end. But both these racers have faced some, really hard competition to get to these records, and facing that elimination. So I'm sure this, high pressure for tonight's race for both of them.
Yes, and chat mentioning that if they tie, they both move on. The tie is a 3-second window between finishes, so it's either tie, win, or lose.
Mm-hmm. And we can see here both of our runners had the objectives up. We have 5 objectives to complete. 3 of them are the same every time in these flag sets. The first 3, Cave Magnus, the Forge Legend Sword, and the Pinktail. We have our 2 random ones here, Defeat the King Queen Eblin and Get Edge, although I guess those 2 are kind of related.
Just a bit of a relation there.
Definitely. And so there you have a little bit of mix there, both a boss hunt and a character hunt. So as opposed to having, say, higher density of boss hunts or higher density of character hunts, you're a little interested in doing both. So that might not drive them to do too many, specific things. Whereas if you had a pair of them, you might start showing some preferences there.
Yeah, so also, go ahead, Icon.
Sure. I was just going to say, also, we can see a old man sage there start for us. So Tella, he's got a great spell list once you finish ordeals. To start with, he has blink and exit. Those are your main uses for him. Otherwise, he's usually not going to be helping you out too much. So might be a bit of a slow start depending on who the partner is here.
Yeah, it can be a quick dash to check that Hobbs character, or if you get something like the hook, going to check the hook. The exit spell is going to be your best friend of getting out those locations where you have to dive quite deep to get the check.
Yeah, definitely good call out. Having access to exit can actually make some checks you'll be a little more annoyed to do, not seem so bad. And so that's definitely one of the big uses of Tella there. And looks like we're off. So good to see here who's joining Tella on our start. Hopefully someone to carry a little bit the early seed. Rydia, that's probably not who we were hoping to see. But Twin Harp is definitely a nice item. That's what we need to complete that first objective, the complete Cave Magnus. Although we probably won't see our runners rushing over to do that with this team.
No, with that spot having quite a high magic defense, and Tella only having level 1 spells, and Rydia not having much to offer to the table at this point, I don't see our runners going there just yet. Could probably do some looting, some extra character check at least at Hobbs, and see where it goes from there.
Definitely. There are a handful of quite good looting locations. We'll be interested to see where our 2 runners go. You're calling out the access to exit spell. That makes going into Watery Pass maybe much more interesting looking, maybe even a full clear of the Watery Pass. It looks like xPankraz. Yeah.
Oh, see our runners going right there. That exit spell. I've looked at the loot tables, and this place is pretty decent, at least in the early game. And having that exit spell to full clear this first area makes it worth the while.
Yeah, definitely. So on this flag set, we're running the T-Wildish flag, which gives wild chests, so you can have a bunch of different things. But it does go ahead and give more of the out-of-way locations, like the Watery Pass here, higher chance of giving out high tier items, tier 4, tier 5, tier 6. Ooh, I think that was a Leviathan summon.
Yeah, we also have a Stardust Rod as well.
Excellent.
So that Rydia is going to be probably going to be getting some levels to utilize that Leviathan summon.
Mm-hmm. And to get those levels, the Stardust Rod itself is actually going to probably be able to do a few 100 points of damage just by using as the item, casting the Stardust spell, which might be just enough to get that MP needed to start casting Leviathan instead.
And there's our 5th objective edge. At least there is at least one edge in the seed, and is currently sleeping right now. There may be one of the gated spots, but at least we know of one right now.
Yeah, definitely good idea there by xPankraz to go ahead and get that information. He now knows how valuable the Sand Ruby is to him if he ends up not finding another edge at that point. So if, this sends us, say, off to the moon and you find that Sand Ruby, and that's your last objective, he knows immediately to leave. And we're getting a view here of who's waiting on Hobbs. So not Edge, which I guess he wouldn't have been here as this wasn't a gate location, but a good character for this start here, Sid. He just has a big old pile of HP, which can be really helpful for these early game checks.
Yeah, we've got, then with the Stardust Rod's going to make quick work with these dolls, and it looks like Rydia's summon from Hobbs' Imp.
Not the best, but you have that Leviathan, so you're probably not too upset at this point.
No, it gives you easy access to the back here. Banker's probably going to loot this, go get the character, and then exit out. Gets a little bit of extra loot in here.
Frostbite might also end up doing that same looting just by now walking down, going ahead and getting all those chests and casting exit to go back out the other side here. Yep, getting Rydia well equipped there. That glass helm provides a ton of physical resist, which will really help Rydia stay alive, given her 30 HP, well 80 now with a few levels, which will be very useful. I guess I wasn't levels, that must have been an apple. But anyway, with that extra HP, actually able to survive some hits and get more levels to get the MP she needs for Leviathan.
Actually, I think a Leviathan is 50 MP, I want to say.
That sounds about right.
I know Self is 25.
Definitely more than Rydia's starting NP anyway.
Yeah.
Just going and getting that Stardust Rod to Tella to have him able to use as an item here to clear this area. Frostbite, meanwhile, jumping into Antline Cave here, which will give an actual key item check by defeating the boss. So, potential progress here for our runners, we'll have to see. Yeah, both runners go ahead and using AoE here to clear out the dolls. You want to make sure you kill, if possible, all the dolls at the same time to avoid summoning the big doll, much scarier fight. Or alternatively, there's other ways of, say, putting status effects on the back row dolls and then killing the front ones. But here, Stardust Rod made this fight easy.
It looks like we found a rune axe and a tiara in the save room on Frostbite's side. Giving an extra 10 wisdom to that Rydia to power up that Leviathan. Once she gets enough MP for it, that Leviathan's going to be hitting like a truck.
Yeah, with that sufficient MP to cast it, a lot of these early game spots might even be just one shot by that between the tiara, the Stardust Rod, and just the high magical damage of that Leviathan. Right, who do we have waiting here in the Antline Cave? It is some officer fight, I believe.
It's Kaipo guards.
And given the access to AoE, this fight should be pretty straightforward. Ooh, looks like xPankraz just skipped by going to save room, so he won't get some of that really nice equipment that's in here. But he does already have Stardust Rod and Leviathan, so hopefully that won't come back to bite.
You can usually find, TR maybe for sale or another area with this T Wildish on, so it's nice to have early on, but it's not a huge offset.
Definitely, and looks like it's the Luca key here for completing the Antline Cave. So that's not going to give any progress right now, but once we can finally get to the Underworld, that is opens up the sealed cave, so another chance to check for a key item there, as well as a boss spot. Maybe where our King and Queen of Evelyn are hiding out. Frostbite heading right on over to Fabul.
Yep, both of them exiting out, quickest way out.
And see if xPankraz follows or heads off somewhere else. We do have Baron or Ordeals both open to us. Baron in, that is. But Fabul it is for Pankraz as well.
Yeah, you're really not going to think of routing in Ordeals. You have a Tella, but usually when you get a Cecil, you tend to think of doing Ordeals sooner to get that Cecil online. With the 3 fights there, it can be tricky with this early game party that you have. But buy a nice cost some charm arrows for Pankraz at the shop.
Definitely nice to have access to that for maybe some elemental weakness exploding, although he does have Rydia knows her level 1 spells, which probably isn't enough for him.
Oh, we've got a Frenchman and a Mambam.
Not too far away from where we normally find it. Shouldn't be too hard to fight again. AoE is another good thing to have access to for this fight. The first phase here, you just have that single target, but after the explode, there'll be a bunch of little baby bombs to deal with. So just being able to start us through that, hoping Rydia doesn't take too much damage from explode. She's fine. So definitely
using this. Oh, and xPankraz with the high roll of Bahamut from the Grimoire.
Without getting through that first part of the fight easy. Normally that's enough damage to just win any fight outright here. Mama gets an extra 9,000 HP, unfortunately. So he'll still have to go through to that second phase. Ooh, and it's a hook as the reward here. So our potential way underground right now might just be hook. There still is a chance of finding a magma key, but once you see the hook, you gotta start thinking about, is that where I'm going to have to go through a hook route, which is a much harder way to get to the underground.
And much harder, but also a gated character location. So there are two characters that are gated just because of how strong they are. Both Fu and Edge are gated, so there could be an early Fu down there waiting for us, even though we are in distinct 10. So Fu may still be taking a break this seed, but the chance is still out there.
For sure. Or even if it's, say, Edge hanging out there, we know one location for him. It's definitely possible for him to be in other parts of the seed, and being able to get that Edge to finish off Objective 5 would be a nice find. Frostbite heading on over to Baron, it looks like, so doing that before Ordeals. Maybe just going to fade Ordeals entirely, even given the hook route. We'll get a snapshot, or get a quick view here of who's our character, and ooh, the first boss being demissed.
Yeah, as some people say, there's a bit of an error here in Baron, as there's no character in that spot.
Some diversion here. Pankraz choosing to go to Ordeals first. So when he has Tella online, as well as, hey, it's 3 boss locations, so maybe there's a chance of finding that King and Queen of Evelyn.
Got a Lunar Sparkle for Frost, and just a Pale Dim.
Shouldn't be too bad here. While you can't use Elemental Magic against Pale Dim, Stardust is non-elemental, so fine to continue to use that for a few hundred points of damage.
And don't want to use any Rydia summons right now, because they'll counter with good old Quake.
Yeah, probably not some that end too well for this team.
Nope.
It looks like the first fight on Ordeals is Evil Wall. That can be pretty fast and pretty punchy, but given the entire team back road here, probably will not really have any problem getting through it.
This is probably one of the easier spots for Evil, as this spot actually has the lowest attack in the game. So this is one of the spots where you actually want to see Evil Wall or see someone like Dark Knight Cecil, as it's not going to hit that hard.
Baronin only awarding the pass. That's a great item to have when you, say, are holding the crystal. Not going to help our runners out too much right now. That provides direct access to Zeromus, so you don't have to walk down through the lunar subterranean. Pankraz finishing off the fight there, cleaning up his inventory during the last few seconds of that fight.
Yeah, so I got a life staff from, I think, the first or second chest here in Ordeals. And we have a quarter leg here.
Almost looked like the vanilla Milan Z fight, but no, it was a trick here. We just have the elements.
Yeah, looks like Pankraz can be summoned. That Leviathan should be able to not even switch phases with this particular fight.
We're likely not going to have to see any part of the elements other than Milan Z. Yeah, sure enough, that one-shots the fight. Right, so Frostbite going and following up on his demist here. So once you beat demist, Rydia's mother will give you a key item check, but also checking the Mist Cave boss, as again, we have that boss hunt. King, Queen, Evelyn are still out there somewhere, so always good if you're nearby to check these locations.
Frostbite entering in from the left side. Generally, something you may not want to do is, if Rydia's mom actually gives the package here, you either have to reset or do the whole package cutscene.
I suppose you could use the exit spell at work here to get him out. But anyway, it is the magma key, so not required hook route. Although it still might be interesting to go ahead and check out the Eplin Cave to see who that character is, because as you're noting, it is a gated check, so there's a chance of finding that foo or maybe an edge.
Also, two bosses. You have the King Queen Evelyn spot and then the Ruby spot. So one of our hidden boss there could be there in its vanilla location.
Yep. And checking the Ruby spot, you can do just while checking the character. You get a peek at the sprite there, so you can gain that information. Although if you want to check the actual King and Queen spot to see if King and Queen are at their vanilla location, you do have to walk through the rest of the tower. And Trollbez here waiting for us in the crystal room. Not too bad. It helps when your party is a little smaller. This fight goes a bit faster because you only have to see the dragon eat one person, or if you manage to take out your own Tella, you don't even have to see anyone get demolished.
Oh, and by looks of chat, it was a Bahamut here at Ordeals. Bridia getting even more powerful with one of the best summons out there.
Definitely, if you're finding Leviathan just wasn't doing enough work for you, surprisingly, here's an even better summon to do some more work. So even now, some of those more mid-game checks are going to be very doable, given the high equipment for Bridia and that really strong summon. As long as she has sufficient MP and HP to stay alive, the damage is going to be there.
All right, we've got Frostbite going into the underground, checking some chests, hoping that the Evelyn item shop here, it has two chances for tier 5 items for the Sirens, Coffins, Hourglasses. And speaking of Sirens and Hourglass, or Coffins, they're here in Evelyn.
Excellent. Good. Just noting kind of you want to get that MP and HP on Bridia. Oh, good. Go crack an egg or two using that Sirens and those Coffins. And she'll have those to get you through these mid-game fights and maybe even towards the late game. So definitely I think everyone's happy to see Sirens. You just kind of now know when you need to grind, you have that option available to you.
Yep. And opting not to check any other chests since Frostbite did buy some stuff at the item shop with that one trap chest down here in the cave. May end up doing some looting once he hits the save spot on his way back, but more than likely not.
But for now, just go ahead and peek that character and boss and see if it's someone he wants to pick up. Alright, so Dark Knight Cecil, as we haven't finished Ordeals yet, so he's not Paladin, and that's a Mylon variant of some form, so it's not the King and Queen of Evelyn, at least in the Ruby spot, but there is still one more boss spot hidden up back here.
Question comes to me, do you actually check that since you're here?
It's kind of a far walk, and there's a lot of boss locations in this game. I don't know I'd invest that time, but we'll have to see what Frostbite decides to do. Going to make a save, maybe? So doing the save, so this is either to do the check and have a reset point, or, as you were saying, maybe he just wants to do that looting and be able to reset away from the trap chest.
Yeah, because this is a gated location, so tier is a little bit higher here for loot.
Mm-hmm. Definitely finds good stuff. Dragoon Shield, definitely a nice shield there. Gives some elemental resistances. xPankraz making use of that Bahamut summon to... Ooh, didn't one-shot Pale Dim, though, so he is going to have to eat that counter quake you were talking about. But not doing too much damage. Most of the party survives.
The magic here is not too terrible, but it is still a little bad.
There we go. Fire is able to finish off the fight. So again, having Ordeals done, Tella has access to his full spell list, and so actually able to do some pretty decent damage. Yeah, not too surprising. Frostbite choosing to take that Cecil. Now he'll go do Ordeals to actually make that be a Paladin and thus a useful character.
I mean, Dark Knight Cecil does have some usage. Find a curse string and he can be your anchor, you know. That's the only equipment he can really put on is the curse string, but you know.
Yeah. I think they actually did find a black sword, and that'll get you through some of these early spots if you didn't already have the Stardust Rod and Leviathan and soon to be Bahamut. So you probably want the Paladin at this point.
Yeah. Especially with that second objective of half coal forge, getting the Excal in the seat is, you know, might be pretty high, like with it being one of your objectives, and that's gonna slingshot that Cecil to have strong power.
Definitely X-Gal being a very strong weapon, although only his second strongest. Crystal Sword, that really does work. And
Yeah.
xPankraz, sure enough, going checking Demist here to get the Magma Key as well. So knowing he doesn't have to do that hook route either.
Checking the armor shop for that possible chance of a cursed ring. With the S standard, it is not guaranteed to be in a gated shop, so it can be anywhere at any shop.
It looks like xPankraz also, though, interested in raising up that hovercraft, so probably a good sign he's going to be checking Emblem Cave as well, finding out who that character is waiting for him, and we'll see which of the bosses he ends up checking.
So we've started to see the form of party start here. Cecil, Porum, Meridia, Tella. For you, would you consider this to be a near end game party with a possible chance of getting Edge as your objective somewhere, or are you gonna maybe switch somebody out later on?
Definitely, I think there's some opportunity to switch out characters here. Rosa's kind of the upgraded white mage, so if you find her not too late, that'd be nice. Ooh, Frostbite does take a wipe there. He did unfortunately not have MP for Leviathan, so wasn't able to just one-shot through the form, through the Mylon Z form. And Elements Rubicante, he does AoE Fire 3, and that hurts at this spot.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the magic attack is for the spot, Fire 3 still hurts.
That's a bad spell. But certainly getting an upgrade to your white mage, getting an upgrade maybe on your old man. If I could get a mop instead of Tella, I'll take that mop. But if you have not fought any of those, this is definitely a party though that can do the end game. As you were noting, Cecil with an X-Cal, he does a lot of damage. Someone to keep him alive, maybe get enough HP there on the Porum, maybe you have a Chemist Sid. You can get through that Ceromus fight. So if you just say find yourself in go mode with this team, it's a team you can stick with and go ahead and end the game.
Got Pancras checking the shops there. Not finding anything he wants. I think I saw a light sword there in the weapon shop, but that's a pretty expensive sword there for Cecil.
It's fairly strong, but yeah, quite a bit of money at this point. So maybe xPankraz is hoping again, you end up doing a lot of the key item check in this flag set, just to finish all your objectives. And if you don't get a key item, you get a chance of getting those tier 7 items. And there's a lot of really good swords in those tier 7 items. And so maybe he's just hoping to get a good equipment that way and save his money for buying things like sirens and coffins and hourglasses. There's a lot of stuff you need to buy. There, Frostbite does get the MP for Leviathan and is able to one-shot elements and doesn't have to deal with that Rubicante phase.
Pancras is just finding his paladin now. Probably will opt to replace. Don't know who to replace at this point in time.
I believe that's
Maybe
just his
Sid?
fifth character, right?
So. Yeah, actually no, it's their fifth character.
Yeah. So I think he'll just take him. There you go. And Frostbite going to be in the news shortly here that Rydia is just overpowered for this seed. I'm probably kind of happy to see that.
Oh yeah. If you've already got levels on your Rydia, Leviathan's great, Sylpha's great, but if you find a Bahamut, you're going, yes, I'm fine with Rydia getting more levels.
Especially with all that magic stat boosting equipment he's found to go with it. Bahamut will just be doing thousands, 6,000 points of damage without too much trouble. And it looks like xPankraz is the first one heading underground here, throwing his magma key down the well.
So where would your first spot be here to go underground? Would you check your freebie at Feymarch, do Dwarf, or do some extra shopping?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I would go ahead and probably just go check the freebie in Feymarch and see who those bosses are. Don't really have the levels to take them on, so it'd just be check that spot to know who's waiting there, and then be able to decide how much grinding I'd want to do before coming back. Get that key item, see what that opens up, and then likely go ahead and take on the Dwarf Castle. I might even crack one egg, though, before taking on that, just to make sure that fight goes real smooth. Especially Paladin Cecil is still only level 1, so that's a nice incentive to go ahead and crack at least one egg. Seems like Pankraz has a similar thought in mind.
Yeah, I'm getting that Cecil's getting some levels here. Believe he still has the crystal armor, so could be thinking of maybe doing some cover strats for Cecil with that good old crystal armor.
Yeah, definitely. That gives just a ton of defense. And so if you're covering those weaker members of your team, say you're Rydia, who you want to be able to get those Bahamut casts off, certain boss spots who are only doing physical attacks, you can just be totally safe and get through those fights, even at much lower levels than you normally would have to be. Or go nice big influx of XP here for this low level party, so that'll make doing it definitely Dwarf Castle a fair bit easier, and maybe even if the fights are easy enough at Feymarch, we'll see Pankraz take them on, although they'd have to be some of the much easier bosses at those locations, as those are quite high level boss encounters to take on at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you see something like Antlion down there, you're probably not going to take it. But if you see Dimps or even, I don't know, what else, Water Hag down there, you're probably going to take those just to full clear it on the one shot down there.
Yeah, exactly. If you can avoid revisiting, because if you do get one of those bosses out, then maybe you just try to fade until the very end, checking out what that other boss is, so you avoid having to do the walk down there twice. Pankraz likes the idea of Dwarf Castle, though. Although might just be shopping. We'll have to see.
Picking up some Ether 2s. Probably to hop on that Rydia, since Leviathan does cost quite a bit right now for our still a little bit on the lower side level Rydia.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you have those, like Dwarf Castle, multiple boss fights back to back, so you don't get a chance to restore your MP in between them. It's really useful to have access to those ethers. You do also get the one elixir in your starting kit, but that is only one, so it's not going to carry you through too many fights, so it's good to have some backup ethers.
Oh, Pankraz selling a bunch of stuff here. I know I did see a sorcerer robe in here for sale, so I think maybe he's debating on what he wants to sell to possibly afford that, because it is about 30 grand to buy one sorcerer robe. But definitely worth it, as it gives both wisdom and will and the undead resistance.
Yeah, a lot of really nice things on that. And yeah, want to put that on his Rydia to really help her, one, stay alive and be able to do that Bahamut damage, as that is his main source of damage right now with this team. Frostbite, go ahead and learning Bahamut. Always important to do that. Getting the orb, not enough. You have to remember to use it. I believe we've all made that mistake before. Getting into the boss fight and checking your call list to see it's still missing.
We have a blue robe here at the Dwarf 1 fight.
Now, which blue robe is it?
Deadly poison.
Well, that's quite a few blue robes we see dancing here, so that's not great news. We're probably hoping to see Water Hag, or xPankraz was, but this is going to be the alt gauntlet.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad here. I mean, it's a lot of fights. You've got Tello with all of his spells. You've got Rydia that's got Bahamut. And you've got the Stardust Rod. You can get through this fight. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Yeah, like on the other side with Frostbite, going down Cave Magnus.
Again, it is an objective, so there's kind of that mantra: do your freebies, do your objectives. If he thinks he has the strength to take on this location with, as you were noting, that magic defense is really high, but he does have Cecil, he does have Sid, and he actually has Bahamut, which, even though the magic defense is really high, that might be a strong enough spell to go ahead and pierce through that and still do a significant chunk of damage here.
I think both Bahamut and Leviathan will break through the magic defense, unless it's Val. Val and her spin, nope. No bueno, not going to happen.
Yeah. So, odds are not finding Val here, but yep, if that happens, this might be a harder fight. Especially because, it looks like Cecil still does not have any extra levels on him. Still sitting there at level 1, as we haven't cracked any eggs yet on Frostbite's side. Chat confirming both Leviathan and Bahamut can pierce through magic defense at this location. xPankraz working his way through the gauntlet there, getting Tella to throw Virus, which is doing a few 100 points damage, which is enough at these spots. There's not a ton of HP on these monsters.
And it looks like it's about our time to continue talking as we have a bard walking his way over to a harp. Isn't that right?
Seems like a good idea. Yeah, just keep on. So, nope, there's about to be a random song here, so we're in fact going to be quiet and allow everyone to enjoy it. And Frostbite through the fight there. Chat saying that's from Final Fantasy IX. At the same time, there we saw xPankraz finish off his first fight and get a Edward here, which is what he's looking for. But Frostbite just has found the Sand Ruby, which he hasn't checked yet, but we know is an edge waiting for him. So great find. That's, again, kind of why the mantra is do your objectives. You don't know what's behind them. It might be another objective. So get that done early and find out. You have to do it eventually.
The harp being the dirty double, as we like to call it, as it's two objectives in one.
I have to imagine Frostbite's going to immediately go and see who's waiting in the bed for him there, knowing he has a character hunt up.
Oh yeah, especially with it being an edge and edge being in gated locations. There's very few character gated locations that you have any access to, and finding one of them like Sand Ruby, you're gonna go check that right away.
Definitely. And looks like xPankraz is awarded the package for finishing Dwarf Castle. Yep, right, that's a chance for another character check, so he might check to see if that is where Edge is, because he doesn't know the Sand Ruby is just waiting for him at the end of the Twin Harp. But continue just doing underground checks while he's here, so heading into the Fey March.
Yeah, not having any levels on your Cecil. Granted, that fight there at the harp is completely free with your Cecil. Just wait until he queues up a second kick, bonk him with Cecil, fight's over. But not knowing that, you're a little less inclined to go there with not that many high-level physical fighters.
Yeah, definitely. Although we did see Bahamut was able to do plenty of damage there, hitting for 4,000 points of damage. So Pinktail waiting in the Fey March, which is another actually objective. It's half of the third objective, trigger away the Pinktail, the other half being Hook, which we already have. So there's the ability to complete objective 3 at any time for xPankraz.
Would you consider that to be somewhat French vanilla, since there's normally the rat tail sitting down there and it's the pink tail? Like, I mean, they're both tails.
It's a tail. That's definitely French vanilla.
Or pseudo French vanilla to make people happy.
That's a blue robe, and we know what this one is, as there are only 2 blue robes. So
yeah, that's a water hag and an octobomb.
And we have a glass helm, which is a ton of physical defense, and water hag just will hit physically, and as long as you can survive enough attacks to hit back 3 times, the fight is won. So Panker is going to take this on. I don't believe he's even used the save point here in Vapor, so he's feeling pretty confident about this fight.
Yeah, what heck in the Azura spot? Azura does punch, but not super hard, not like Leviathan. Taking on the Octomom next door, a little more debatable. Probably is going to save in between, just because it does hit pretty quick. But you hit it 3 times, it'll slow down. You hit another 2 times, it'll slow down even more. So there's getting like the first after you get past the first 5 hits, you're going to be way faster than that boss.
Yeah, definitely. For his actual agility situation, Sid's not too fast, but I don't believe he's found a cursed ring yet, so not quite probably able to get relative agility 1 on this party, which would definitely help out these high-level boss fights to get your team to be, equally fast as opposed to a fair bit slower, which is probably ways running right now.
Right, it still does have a Dwarf X, which does reduce your agility by 5 for both Sid and Cecil, so still some agility black magic there, and finds the Earth Crystal.
That's definitely an interesting find here when you still have that character hunt up, so getting edge. It's interesting what he'll choose to do when he goes to land over in that area. He'll probably do Twin Heart first, and then see he has the Sand Ruby, which then might pull him away from doing that Earth Crystal, depending on just does he still have more objectives or key items he's looking for to get objectives done or not. Because we actually know that with that pink tail, Cave Magnus will also give him edge, so he's literally just then 1 more objective short of being in go mode.
Right, I can see Panker, since he's going out here to talk to Yang to turn in Sheila 1, probably going to use the fact that you're so low on health from stepping over all these damage tiles down here to go into Cave Magnus. Like I said, it's a 50-50 shot whether you go turn in that Sand Ruby or do you go up Earth Crystal. You've got 2 boss locations up there for Earth Crystal.
Yeah, that's true. So you're probably right. Given all that damage he's taken, he's probably going to take on the Twin Heart first to Cave Magnus. But yeah, do you then go ahead and just do Earth Crystal because you're in the area for the boss fights? Because, hey, you get key item and 2 bosses there. Or do you go ahead and check some other locations hoping to get progress? Although I guess Pancras is starting to run out of other places to check as he's already done a big part of the underground now.
Yeah, all Pancras has down for underground right now is Luca Key, Top of Tower, which is the keyless tower play, and the Octomom at Leviathan.
Yeah. So potentially if he's in the area, the Earth Crystal will look pretty appealing to him. We'll have to see what his plans are. Did just drop off the hovercraft, didn't actually go and turn in the pink tail yet.
Yeah, dropping off the hovercraft there just in case Sheila does give the rat tail. They're going to just make 1 stop. But getting an Avenger, that's pretty good for the Cecil you already have.
Yeah, exactly. So that was, as I was saying, there's quite a few tier 7 weapons that Cecil likes to use, the Avenger being one of them. So either he or Kane can equip that. It has pretty decent stats and gets them permanently in the Berserk status. So they'll just keep swinging that Avenger as fast as they can. The pink tail, though, yipping. Oh, another good sword, the Excal.
Yeah, well, we have a Excal Avenger Cecil online here. You always prefer to have the Crystal Sword, but I'm pretty okay with having just an Excal.
Yep, agreed. You prefer having that crystal, but I'm still happy with an Excal. It's going to get work done for sure. So I think Panker is definitely feeling comfortable now doing the Twin Harp location. He has levels on his Cecil and very good equipment at this point, so I'm sure he's not concerned about taking on this location at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, like you said, you got equipment, you got Excal Avenger. You're really not going to be afraid of too much.
Even piling on the plus strength there, putting on the bandana over the glass helm, doesn't quite need the physical defense anymore, so rather get more physical DPS. Frostbite will continue working through the alt gauntlet here, so we note that this just ends up awarding a Edward and a package, so not quite what he's looking for, but again, he doesn't know that, so this is a check that just he has to do just to see what's behind here.
Yeah, with that being an objective, you're going to at least do it since you don't have Moon access as of right now. Get another objectives done because you only need to do 4 out of the 5 for this particular flag set.
Yep, correct. You know, having 2 done here, he's probably feeling like, oh, this, you know, depending on what comes up, this could end up being pretty jetty seed, so I need to do these checks that I can get done somewhat quickly. Oh, xPankraz is taking a save here. Okay.
And actually think of it now, there'll be 2 and then a third for him. So he'll just need 1 more for go mode. We already have the pass. We have access to Zeromus.
Yeah, that's true. This could end up being a really quick seed. Maybe checking that Earth Crystal as you noted 2 bosses there. That's 2 chances to find that King Queen Evelyn. The remaining objective here, the Forge of the Legend Sword with Adamant, is a little further away as you need 2 key items to finish that, both the Adamant and the Legend Sword, and we've not found either of those at this point. So that objective is definitely feeling a little further away.
Here we go with xPankraz doing another music here with Freya's theme.
And xPankraz through the Twin Heart fight, we see him going for the ouch strategy. So as you were talking about, going ahead and just hitting after the second kick there with a Paladin will trigger just the end of the fight, regardless of how much HP is left.
And does not depend on what weapon you have. You could have him with an Ogre Axe and it'll still do the ouch.
And again, xPankraz does know that this Sand Ruby does give him an edge, so he knows he actually has another objective done. So he's only 1 more to be in go mode. So where is he hoping to find that last objective? Is he going to go ahead and do the Earth Crystal? Looks like yes.
Yeah.
There is a treasure here, but I think we'll probably... Nope. I was going to say we're probably not going to see that with the no treasure or T7 in chests, but nope. xPankraz feels like he needs a little more gear to keep going here, so maybe that's with feeling the end of the game is so close.
Yeah, with the around the 40-minute mark is for some people it's still a decent time. Finding a power shirt, definitely really good here. You know, there's a time when you just stop looting and a time when you know you've done enough. And xPankraz doing not a lot of looting, probably saving with it being this early. But does find some excellent gear there for a Cecil.
Definitely, that power shirt will go really nice with that Excal. Almost certainly unlock another attack multiplier there, so he'll end up hitting a lot harder with that. Continued divergence though, Frostbite is going ahead and showing us what's in Sealed Cave here. So this is a nice check to do because you don't actually have to hard commit here. You can make a save outside, go down, peek at the item, peek at the boss, and if neither of those are useful to you, just reset back out.
xPankraz making the Earth dive. We're getting all new information here.
So yeah, so xPankraz almost certainly hoping to just see that King Queen Evelyn and then be immediately in go mode. Frostbite, again, probably hoping the same thing to see that King or Queen Evelyn at the boss fight. So hopefully he'll remember check not just the key item, and if it's so good reset, but also check see who that boss is.
And for some people, it depends on what item is there. Is it worth walking out? Sometimes, if it's a crystal sword to a Cecil, do you really want to walk that out?
Especially Frostbite doesn't know there's a pink tail holding an X-Cow waiting for him, so. Rat tail, that's a chain. That can be hard to reset on unless this boss fight's particularly rude.
Yeah, that's a hard one to reset out of without having, Darkness Crystal for more key item checks, not having Earth Crystal yet. Like you're thinking about, and Baron Guard's here, fairly free.
Yep. Pankraz finding Ogopogo is the first boss here, so it's not his objective, but an easy enough fight given this the strength of this team. And nice to get Ogopogo out on a spot here that he can take out quickly, as opposed to somewhere else with a lot more HP, which would make this fight definitely more of a pain, although his party is well set up to handle it.
And we have a mop and the first character.
Okay, upgrade Tella, good. And showing us Bahamut's waiting for us in Dwarf Castle, which we already knew, so unfortunately no extra information there. Although again, that can be a good thing to note if you are on that boss hunt. By doing the Earth Crystal, you get a peek at who's waiting for you in Dwarf Castle.
And we find a replacement Tella.
Great, so Fu over Tella and then Tella back over Fu.
I'd more or less say Fu over Tella and then Tella over Porum for a new agility anchor.
Sure. And that actually is an interesting note because you really do want to have a white mage. There's a lot of fights where it's very useful to have that. But Usoya has both white magic and black magic, so he really can take up that white mage role for you in a lot of cases. And sure enough, looks like that's the case.
Yeah, the one problem that Fu does have is he has such a limited MP pool. We did find at least one Soma drop in the treasury, which give him an extra 10 MP to get him up to 200.
Which ends up being a pretty nice breakpoint with nuke costing 50. Being able to get that one Soma drop means 4 casts of nuke before having to restore MP. And just some vanilla here. Okay. So unfortunately, not the King Queen Evelyn.
No, and in this particular spot has no physical defense. Cecil already equipped with the Avenger, just going to be
chew through this without too much problem. Frostbite just found the pink tail, so now knows also another objective is done at any point he wants to complete it. So very close here to being in go mode as well for Frostbite, which I have to imagine that has turned the pressure on for both of these runners, knowing that they could at any moment now just be in go mode.
Yeah, so let's put this on the table here. Let's say we find the Darkness Crystal here at Zot. Do you just start face checking bosses, or do you actually continue doing bosses to get the experience? Because you're going to be at 10 key items for Pankraz when you leave here if it's the Darkness Crystal. Do you just face check bosses at this point, looking for the King Queen Evelyn?
Yeah, that's definitely is an option. I could see wanting to go down into the moon and starting to do some of that face checking of the bosses, but then if you don't find it, maybe take those on, especially if any of those fights are a little easier. You can go ahead and do some of those to get your first influx of XP, then take on some of the harder fights. So yeah. And speaking of it, there it is.
Speaking of the Darkness Crystal, I swear I'm not a witch.
Are you sure? I'm not convinced, given the data points we have here. So good work, commentary. Bless cursing that Darkness Crystal in here, but yeah, definitely that has opened up a lot of checks here for Pankraz. So it'll be interesting to see what he chooses to do with this, because yeah, there's a lot of different options available at this point.
Correction, only 9 key items for Pankraz right now, not 10.
Yeah. I know I've miscounted the past multiple times. Unfortunately, in this flag set found in the key item pool, it doesn't count as a key item for giving you 10 key items. I recommend a tracker that counts for you, so you don't have to worry about counting yourself. That's definitely worked well for me. Pankraz going back for some more shopping. Oh,
Maybe
actually,
looking
not
for
even
some
to the
edge
edge shop.
weapons.
Yeah. So weapon shop first. I wonder if we'll also sneak into the armor shop here through the secret passage on the right there, and maybe look for a curse string. So he does have that Tele, who's relatively slow, so that's a pretty good anchor for him.
I think he may have been looking for some edge weapons. There's a particular flag on this set called Sea Neki. Edge doesn't come with all his gear. He comes with a tier 1 to tier 3 item, and that's it.
Yeah, very unfortunate on Edge. Is otherwise he comes with some really nice gear. That black belt, that bandana he normally starts with are just both really nice pieces of equipment. Pankraz going ahead and checking the sealed cave here. So he'll find out that that is the rat tail, and probably also want to keep it so he can find out what that chain leads to.
I probably want to even keep it even more since it will be his 10th key item.
Good call. Frostbite will get to have a little more efficiency here in turning in his tail, since he does have both for this turn in. So only one stop here. Let's find out what the rat tail has. So could be one half here of our second objective, Adamant or the Legend Sword, but might also lead to somewhere we can do more bosses. Oh, it's just the Adamant, never mind. So no Baron Key, nothing like that. But hey, halfway to objective 2.
Now who's the witch? I mean, you just called the Adamant being there at Rat Tail. I mean...
I was just, you know, you think, of course, the Adamant being behind the rat tail. And look, he doesn't even have to forge the Adamant with Legend Sword because he's just given the X-Scow for free for that pink tail.
Yeah, so we've got one key item towards one objective and just one objective sitting out there at a boss spot.
Now, there definitely are some bosses that are in annoying to check locations. So I think when you have that Adamant, it becomes a lot more interesting. Just keep checking keep checking key item locations as opposed to face checking bosses. Because what if that boss you're looking for is in one of those places you don't want to go, like Giant, or hey, maybe it's behind that package you don't want to have to turn in.
Yeah, I wonder where our runners are going to go next. I mean, we've got, at least here on the Earth, for Pankraz, we've got 2 checks left besides this rat tail. We've got Octomom and Top of Tower. Because we haven't seen the Top of Tower boss yet.
Yep. Frostbite hasn't done their Earth Crystal yet, so they don't have access to the Darkness Crystal, so they can't go to the moon.
Yep.
Looks like that might be the next check for them.
Everybody fading Keyless Tower. Like, is it really that scary? But
Pankraz is in the underground right now, so while he's down here, there's some incentive to just do the checks in this area before leaving. So maybe Keyless Tower, maybe that Octo fight is what he's thinking of next.
We have Frostbite opting not to do the Treasury. Treasury not holding too amazing stuff. The greatest thing out there was the power shirt. So again,
yeah, must be feeling just comfortable enough. I'm not sure if he maybe has already found some good armor for Cecil. I think Pankraz at that point had nothing on the body slot for his paladin, so that might really want to incentivize him to go ahead and check that to get something on, and then being rewarded with the power shirt, probably the best thing to put on that slot for him.
It looks like Pankraz is going to be doing some eggs here.
Sure enough, as you noted, Rat Tail does give him to 10 key items, so hey, good time to grind. You're going to be getting that double XP. This is a party you're probably happy with, taking right to the end game, so why not get the levels? Make all your future fights that much faster and that much easier.
Yeah, I don't think Pankraz is going to get Rydia to nuke, just because Rydia's EXP curve is way out there, but probably going to be sitting around getting Cecil maybe to around 2200 HP. With still having some bosses on the moon to check, you're probably going to finish up your grind doing those moon fights.
Yeah, very well could be. Or maybe he's hoping that he won't ever have to go to the moon and will just want to grind all the way to save Ceromus levels while he's stopped here. Although there's only so many Sirens left in his inventory, so. Frostbite finding out it's just no-go here, not the boss he's looking for. With these extra levels, though, Octo is definitely looking a lot more possible for xPankraz, so maybe he's getting those to take on that fight, or maybe he'll swing over to that keyless tower. Definitely both valuable options here, both giving a key item check, and in the case of keyless tower, a boss check that is currently unknown.
Yep, looks off to be doing the keyless tower.
I can see that getting basically the two chances here to go. Well, xPankraz doesn't know that if it's, say, the Legend Sword, that puts him in go mode. But again, two potential chances, though, of entering go mode. At least for us, we would know it.
Mm-hmm. Had to look back there. I couldn't remember what the starting boss was. It was a Lunar Sparkle for the first boss. So.
All right. So.
Something I always forget is, who's the character that gives you the first key item?
There's like 3 things you're interested in right at the start of the game, so it's easy to just let one of those drop. Frostbite here, finding out who's waiting for him in the tower. Let's see if he makes a different party choice here from xPankraz, or opts for the same configuration.
Pitching for him and swapping out Tellas.
Yeah, exact same thing. Must be a good plan if both the runners are doing it.
Mm.
And
we just
Dark
have a Dark Knight
Knight. Yeah.
Pretty free.
Yep, definitely a fight they can take. Again, not the one they were hoping to see, but at least it's one they can get through.
Mm-hmm. I don't think the Dark Waves will hurt too bad here. Your Tella's going to either be on the ground or still on the ground.
Already taking a nap, yep. Really not hitting too hard here. Husei, at this point, having 1900 HP, as many boss locations have been completed, and the levels there on your Paladin means he has a pretty sizable HP pool as well. And something about justice, and fight's over. So you don't need to swing to end this fight, just survive 3 attacks and you win. In fact, don't swing, that makes you have to survive more attacks. So just wait it out. Oh, that was an Excal, so reset.
Yep, just another Excal, don't care.
He could dart it, but yeah, totally makes sense. While there's some use of that item, it's not worth having to walk all the way back out of tower, so the reset. Oh, xPankraz going, I imagine, turning in the rat tail, so I wonder if he will head back to take on Octo, or we'll head up to the moon after this. Given that he left the underground, probably thinking the moon after this.
Yeah, as some of us have played together, there's one thing, it's like you pick somewhere that, you know, if this is location that loses me the race, that's the spot. And I wonder if xPankraz is thinking, if it's an Octomom, fine. Yeah. I've got more value on the moon.
And there is a lot of checks to be done up on the moon, so you know there's a lot of odds here being able to find that Legend Sword up in that location, or again, maybe just the King and Queen of Evelyn are waiting one of those. So, again, kind of opens up that question: do you do boss face checks, or do you actually go and complete them trying to find that Legend Sword?
Well, at this point, for both runners, it is find King Queen Evelyn, beat them, and you're in go mode. Yep. So xPankraz has Z levels with both his Fu and Cecil. You have a pseudo power couple at that point. You could face check, find King Queen Evelyn, and then go straight to Zeromus. Is one half. Or you can get extra levels for your edge and maybe find the Pan or Tower, but still going to be doing the rest of the bosses. Maybe make a gamble.
And our runners here, finally, there was quite a bit of divergence and then crossing over each other's tracks, but have lined up here, both launching the Lunar Whale at the same time and heading off to the moon, though xPankraz has checked Keyless Tower, which Frostbite has not done. but as that turned out to not be a useful check, they pretty much are neck and neck here. Although, again, some more divergence. Looks like xPankraz wants to check out cave value. Well, Frostbite's going to be heading in to do some of the throne check, maybe, and then probably head into the lunar subterranean. So again, if you're kind of interested in doing maybe those face check of bosses, just head straight to the bottom of the moon, check the 3 bosses that are pretty closely clustered, see if any of them are King, Queen, Evelyn. And if not, reset and start taking whichever of those 3 fights you like the most, looking for that Legend Sword.
Yep, xPankraz sees a Lunar Sparkle. We have seen at least 2 Lunar Sparkles. Probably opted not to take that one because we've only seen Pale Dim and Ogopogo. Still that Wyvern sitting out there.
Very well might have been his plan, just unless it was King and Queen Evelyn, not taking the fight. And so once he saw what sprite it was, happy just leave and go check somewhere else. Looks like Frostbite is playing for the bottom-up approach here. Again, there's a lot of bosses if you start at the bottom, so the ability to check those quickly is one ability. Also, there's the Ribbon Room, provides really good experience because Frostbite hasn't done nearly as much grinding as xPankraz, so might want to find out that's an easy fight and use that to get the levels.
Yeah, a cool 200,000 there at that spot.
Not
with
too shabby.
Yeah.
That'll get you, if not into already your Zeromus levels, depending on how much other experience you've got, very close for sure. I guess it also depends on what you're trying to do. If you want Duke on Rydia, probably not quite enough experience, but for Berserk strats, you're probably good to go. At least with Fu handling your healing. Continue divergence there.
Yep, xPankraz going to the Murasame altar. Took a save outside the Lunar Palace beforehand, so probably going to be face checking it, seeing if it's a free fight or if it's King Queen Evelyn, going to be resetting out if not.
Mm-hmm. Could also just be that save because these are boss location, or these are moon boss locations. They're not the easiest ones. Might just be a little concerned it will be able to. No, he's just the King Queen reset time. So that's definitely a fight he has the strength to take. It's a little slow and annoying, but definitely a safe fight.
And there's our King Queen Evelyn at the Warclear altar.
Excellent. So that's Go Mode. It's also a great fight to find because it's really easy. You just stand here, let them cast a handful of pretty weak spells, and you win the fight. So you can just see Frostbite. Oh, he's throwing out some attacks.
It looks like he accidentally left the Avenger still on Cecil. So
of course.
At this point, with Cecil still buffering the queue, you're just gonna try and nuke these, blow them up with Bahamut, try and get them off the screen as quickly as possible. Yep. Just with that Cecil, they're not gonna get a chance.
The good news is Frostbite does have the DPS here, so this is definitely a good strategy as well to get through this fight quite quickly. It might even end up being faster this route, being able to do these high thousands points of damage, 8,000 from Bahamut, 5,000 from Nuke. Yeah, already getting the king down. Making sure Tella takes a nap. Just in time.
Yep, Frostbite, not exactly at the creme de la creme of Z levels, low in some people's minds. Do you check the Ribbon Room altar at this point to get that cool 200 XP, or do you go grind some gold dragons?
I do, but I'd probably lose. Against xPankraz here, he's a really good runner. You have to just feel like every second matters. So if you can do the Z fight here, which I don't feel safe with 1700 HP on my paladin. But if you feel comfortable in being able to consistently nerf those big bangs, yeah, go ahead and take the fight right away. Get it done. Looks like Frostbite does want to go ahead and get those extra levels though. But good news is he has the Sirens, so go ahead and take a gold dragon fight here, which is a large amount of XP and probably get him into that safe range he's looking for.
Yep, xPankraz going straight to the White Spur altar, which is the first location down here, and finds King Queen Evelyn.
Mm-hmm. And he already does have the levels, so once this fight's done, I'm expecting to see maybe a save or maybe even just swag walk right down on and take that Zeromus on.
Like I would actually still opt to do the save. It does take about 30 seconds to save, but you don't have any Bacchus wines for your other edge. You'd have to Zerk them up with the Foo. It's still debatable. Pankraz, amazing runner, may just go, nope, I'm not even gonna bother. I'm just gonna go straight down.
Yeah. He does have the Avenger to go ahead and get the Paladin to be berserked. Maybe then he just starts darting with the edge until he dies to that big bang. He'll have the X-Gal unequipped, so that's at least one thing he can throw. I'm not too sure if he has other things. I think a White Spear maybe, but maybe he doesn't even need to get berserk onto edge.
I think he kept a lot of his dartable items like the light sword, the white spear, the Gungnir
nice.
when he was selling stuff.
Excellent. Frostbite, unfortunately, having to take a reset there against those gold dragons, doesn't have access to hourglasses, which makes this fight makes this grind a much safer, easier one to do. So resetting here and trying it again. That time loss is definitely going to hurt, though. He had that crystal first, but the need to grind here is unfortunately giving Pankraz the lead.
And leaving that Avenger equipped on Cecil, maybe hoping to buffer the queues for Foo to get some weeks off. But we have Pankraz going down into the lunar subterrane.
Yep, definitely Pankraz feeling comfortable with this level, so no need to grind or say even check. Maybe that was a free boss at the ribbon room for some fast XP. Nope, this is enough. Let's go and take on Z. Speaking of taking on Z, there's some flags coming out in chat.
Yeah, it's a. I don't know. Is it nap time? I've heard that being talked about a lot. Like it's ready to take a nap. I mean, I know Tella's already doing that.
I always think nap time's a good idea, but no, I don't quite think that's what's going on here. So Zeromus is a really mean boss, and with a pretty complicated script, we can't just put him anywhere. So he always stays here at the end. This is a randomizer, so if we're going to know where that boss is and we're going to know what his script is, we need to randomize something about this. So what we end up doing is Zeromus getting a randomized sprite from a excellent collection of over 500 sprites at this point. And once you reveal the crystal, you get to find out what that is. And that leads to an important question, which is, Tibble,
whose butt are we going to be kicking tonight? And there goes the crystal being thrown. Do you have a favorite butt to kick?
Oh, that's good. I like the end screen. It kind of makes me feel like, oh, that's right, I am close to the end. That's good. It gets me ready to see the end of the game.
And we have the blue shell.
Oh, I think that's one I don't like. Too many bad memories there.
Oh yeah, the blue shell from Mario Kart. I've played Mario Kart 8. I actually know one of the best defenses for the blue shell. You keep that sound wave power up with you in Mario Kart 8. If you time it just right, you can take care of that blue shell. Yeah, Pankraz immediately switching over for Cecil to be Avenger glitched, and then looks like he popped a Starville up on Rydia.
Yep, and being able to throw those nukes there with Foo to get out good damage, as well as edge darting like that X-Cal for a few thousand points damage. Getting a lot of damage out here real fast at the beginning can be very useful to get kind of the roll over into the second phase of the fight quickly. It provides the ability to maybe avoid a full strength big bang, at least in the first phase.
Yeah, but that edge taking that first counter nuke totally took him out. But the high level of play from Pankraz, waiting for that big bang to come out and then rezzing the edge.
Yeah, definitely really well played there by Pankraz, knowing this script I'm sure very well, so when to throw those life potions, when to wait. He also used the virus cast there from Tella to nerf the first big bang, so as long as you go ahead and hit him with a spell directly, Zeromus will counter with nuke, and that first big bang will be nerfed and do far less damage. Alright, Frostbite feeling comfortable now with his levels to take on Zeromus, so heading on down. Zeromus is mean. No fight against Zeromus is free. There is a chance here to eat a wipe. Most common way is the full strength big bang immediately into Medio, that takes out almost any party. You need to have a lot of HP to be able to survive that. So Frostbite's definitely still in this.
Yeah, it looks like Pankraz is just darting everything he possibly can. Darting the defense sword, Xcal, just everything.
This is the final fight. There's nothing left to save it for. Dart everything you have in this one. Use all those items. Drink all your elixirs. You lost 300 HP. Drink an elixir.
And I think that food's been throwing out nukes, so using that elixir to regain the MP. And we are in rocks phase for Pankraz.
At a healthy amount of HP level, so he's looking pretty safe here.
Yep. And there we go. There's the crumble.
And GG's to xPankraz with an official time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 35 seconds. Makes him the winner for this match, which means he gets to continue on into the bracket stage, having a 4-2 record coming out of the Swiss.
While we wait for Pankraz to get in here for a possible interview, we have Frostbite going into the Z fight. Gonna be seen as the blue shell. Gonna see if he can kick that butt.
Looks like it's very similar strategy here. Venture up on that Xcal, or over the Xcal there. We'll berserk his edge though. I don't think he didn't loot the treasury, so not quite as much dart material for him.
And with that dedupe I just heard, we have Pankraz in the room here with us. GG's Pankraz.
GG's, thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely well done there on that seed. Any thoughts kind of on the seed overall? Any particular points stand out to you? Any big decisions you think were key on getting you to that win?
Not really. Like, it was a pretty straightforward seed, ultimately. Like, a lot of things just kind of fell in our lap. Like, you do music, you get the Sand Ruby, it's the Dirty Double. You go to the Fey March freebie, you get the Pink Tail. So, right off the bat, you get 3, and then it's just a matter of finding that last one. And this time around, we were just hunting for a freebie boss, so try to take as many bosses as possible.
That exactly seemed to be your strategy there, is once you hit that point, is you just went and started face checking bosses and resetting immediately? Was your thought to check every boss location on the moon there? Before actually taking a boss on?
Yeah, like, do the top 2, dive to the bottom, face check everything on the bottom, and then start clearing it out. Because with the key items that were still up, I'd need a Legend Sword for Go mode, but there was still a Tower Key, there was still a Pan, there was still a Baron Key. The Legend Sword could be super buried behind any combination of those 3 key items. I didn't want to risk it, and having access to all but 3 bosses in the game, I figure I'd just face check everything, try to find that King of Note.
Definitely makes a lot of sense. Is that also, guess, why felt comfortable fading the Octo there in Fey March? Again, you were just looking for those boss spots? Yeah.
Yep. I didn't want to do it on the first dip because my party, even with Rydia and Glass Hat Cecil, wasn't quite enough for it. So that was one of those, I'll come back to it later if I need to, but for now, we'll just leave it there. Go to the moon, try to get a 10th key item somewhere, and party.
All right, excellent. What about going into that sea fight? How are you feeling about your levels? You've done a little bit of grinding there on the on eggs there, and then comfortable at this point?
Yeah, I was feeling very comfortable. Like, my Cecil was dressed to the nines with power shirt, strength ring, bandana, Xcal, Avenger. Like, he wasn't going down. Then, with the added help from Fu, having over 2100 HP thanks to those apples, with Rydia bouncing a couple spells, with the arsenal of weaponry in the Troya Treasury for Edge to dart, I knew that I had a lot of damage output. Even if my levels aren't tip-top, I don't have nuke on Rydia, I don't have edge weapons, I can get through this fight.
Definitely.
And get through it, I did.
You did. Doing very well there, even with Edge eating that counter nuke, being able to pick him up after that first big bang and keep darting out there. Now, actually, going to the treasury, I guess that's something not everyone's doing in this flag set. What draws you into the treasury? Was there any specific thing in this seed that makes you go there, or any kind of, rule of thumb you have for when to go ahead and raid that treasury?
Part of it depends on, when in the seed do I get the Earth Crystal. For this seed specifically, it was the Sand Ruby from Magnus. I had already known that was Edge from my scouting at like the 2-minute mark, and I had 0 weapons for him. So I thought I'd peek in the treasury, see if A, I can find some stuff to sell and buy ninja blades, if I can remember where in the world those were, or B, see if I can outright pick up some edge weapons in there, or C, which is what ultimately happened, I can pick up a whole bunch of middle range weaponry for him to just start chucking.
Excellent. Very good plan there. Tybalt, anything else you want to check with xPankraz?
But how about that early game, starting off with just the Tella and the Rydia, and then finding both Leviathan and the Stardust Rod? How did you feel about that?
I felt that I don't need really any more chests other than stuff to sell. We are powerful. We are ready. Let's check everything and get rolling. Like, the Stardust Rod on its own was probably enough, but I was like, I meant the front. I might as well finish checking it here. And then the Leviathan falls into my lap. And then the Bahamut falls into my lap later on in Honor Deals. Or was that Fabulf? I forget. In either case, there was no shortage of power in the early game of the seed, even if the characters were less than stellar.
That's about all I have for Pankraz. You got anything else, Koffler?
Nothing else on my end, but I do want to say again, GG, well done on this race, very excellently played, and congrats on making it into the brackets. I'll be looking forward to seeing your races there and how well you do.
Thanks, I'm glad to have made it after 3 Elim matches in a row.
Definitely some tough matches in. There's a lot of good runners in this community, so it's not easy making it into brackets, so good work on that front. Thoughts on preparation for the brackets? Anything you're planning to do on that?
Been playing a couple seeds here and there. Really need to play a lot more, try to explore a couple more things and solidify some of my strategies. But luckily, I've got about a week off to practice them even more. So catch me in the async races, trying to go fast and just playing some seeds on my own. It'll be a good time.
All right, excellent. We'll definitely be checking for your stream there, seeing you do some async races and see what strategies you come up with for this new flag set.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, all of you, for the fantastic restream. Klopfer and Tybalt on comms. I look forward to watching it back and hearing all that you have to say. Neon on tracking. I'm sure that all those fancy buttons have lit up so shinily. And of course, Crimson Avix for the seed. Appreciate it. It was a fun one. And we couldn't do it, or we wouldn't have a show without all of you.
Thank you very much for your kind words. And with that, looks like Frostbite has made it through his Aromas fight as well, finishing with a time of 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 13 seconds. So just under 6 minutes behind. Definitely a really good time as well. And we'll see if he will be joining us for an interview.
Yeah, so as the spoiler log, while we're waiting for Frostbite to possibly come in here, we did see the Legend Sword was at cave value behind that Lunar Sparkle.
Fair enough. There's definitely that opportunity sometimes of checking those out of the way locations if you're feeling maybe behind. You took a wipe to some boss fight or just check some chain that ended up leading to nothing. Doing those off-meta checks like cave value, even if it's, say, an annoying lunar boss, can be the thing that just kind of slingshots you ahead. For all we knew, King and Queen were waiting for us at Giant or Package. So definitely a good thing to keep in mind there is go ahead and check those spots if you feel behind that you think your opponent might not be doing. It might just be that thing you need to get back into the lead.
I would probably say this has probably been one of our jettiest seeds in the tournament. I think this may be like the 4th fastest. Yep. With that, we have Frostbite in here. Frostbite, GG.
Hey, thanks. GG's to Pankraz. Honestly, this is what we all wanted to happen. No one wanted to watch me slog through these bracket seeds. Everyone wants to see Pankraz go and do awesome in the thing. But no, that was obviously a fun jet seed. I really am a fan of jet seeds because I don't know, they're kind of really nerve-wracking, and you kind of, like, this time you don't know it's a jet seed until you go to the moon, and it's like, oh, there's go mode right in the first boss I look at. This is awesome. But yeah, the one thing I am happy about is that like the sum of the two major mistakes I made was not the same as the difference in the race, because like, you know, I was pretty sure I was going to lose this race. I've raced xPankraz probably like 15 or 20 times in pickup races and like, you know, various community races. And I think I've only beaten him once, and I think it's my worst record against any single person in the community. I mean, I haven't played lots of people, so like it's not like anything that spectacular, but for whatever reason, I just can't ever get him. I never get lucky in the races. He gets unlucky, etc. So I don't know if that means we kind of just do the same things and he does them a lot faster than me or whatever. But I was really, really unhappy when I saw that I'd drawn him for this match. And the thing that I'm a little disappointed in it being a jet seed is that I was really hoping it was going to be a seed where I could make a gamble that could either pay off or I'll just lose by 15 minutes instead of 6 minutes or whatever. That's fine. But that really didn't happen, because the moon was so kind of late, and I skipped a few spots on the underworld, but nothing really that I felt was even really skipping. I mean, I didn't do Keyless Tower, and I just decided not to do that Octoman, was it? Because I figured I might be able to do it, but it could have been a bit of a problem for just how long it was going to take. So I was kind of hoping it was going to get down to like a top-down moon, or a like, which I guess it kind of did. Or a situation where like I could be like one of 3 characters in Gamble Giant or something like that. But no, I'm pretty happy with how this went. I just like the mistake on the elements is I'm just a genius. I even looked at how much magic Rydia had, and in retrospect, it was like 97 or something like that. I think Leviathan takes 50. And I was like, oh, this is fine. I'll just cast Leviathan in the 2 fights and I'll be fine. And then, of course, it wasn't fine. And then I was hoping, I think it was Sid at that point, had the Rune Axe on. And I was just hoping that he was going to get a swing in before the Fire 3 came up, because I knew the Fire 3 was going to, like, I was never going to survive that. And it just didn't happen. And then at the end, I forgot to take the stupid Avenger off Cecil both times going into the grind fight. In the first fight, like, Cecil's the only character I really want levels on, because like Rydia's not doing much, and in the end, I guess getting the levels on Rydia saved my Z fight. But Cecil was the only guy I wanted to get levels on, and it didn't happen, and so I had to redo that. And those are the 2 things I'm disappointed in. But other than that, I feel like I played this about as well as I could have.
With that Frostbite, don't sell yourself short. Like, you raced really, really good against Pankraz. You actually had the crystal before Pankraz did, even with the little hiccups beforehand. You know, it was just minor routing differences. You guys were intertwined here and there. Like, you put on a really good race versus Pankraz. And I know Pankraz is really good, and you're up there with him.
Hey, I appreciate that. I feel like I'm on the next tier, you know, like if Pankraz is like one of the LeBron James and that level, I might be like just like a guy that, like, you know, you're just happy that he's the 3rd guy on your team. But no, I feel like I'm getting better. And yeah, I mean, I always look at, I feel it's really hard to take like joy in what you do, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm always thinking about how to get better so that the next time I can improve. So I'm going to watch this back, both for the awesome comms and for just a chance to see what he did and how he did it faster. And I mean, I already know I can say menuing, because he's just like a god of menuing. And I know, like, man, I wasted so much time at one point in the character menu screen. People never mention the character menu screen as like the 50th boss of this game, because it shouldn't be. But for whatever reason, I just have a lot of problems rearranging my characters sometimes for some reason. And like, it seems like once you put one in the wrong slot, then you're like, it just goes to heck after that. But I was I found that funny, because that's just like a classic Frost little mistake, just bunking up the character order screen. But yeah, like I felt, like I said, I'm really happy with how this went. I'm happy with how my tournament went. This is like, it's so hard, like with these flags, because, you know, you get a lot of close races and you get a lot of like really sort of separated races that aren't even necessarily a commentary on the quality of the runners. It's just like, you can't check 7 or 8 extra bosses and beat most people most of the time, right? So this is the first race I had that was really close, I think. Because a lot of the other ones is just like either me or my opponent ended up checking half the world more than the other one, and that's sort of what determined the race as opposed to sort of like an execution win or loss. So I'm sure he probably did a little bit more than me. I'm going to watch it back, like I said. But no, I'm super happy with how this went. I figured I wouldn't qualify for brackets after I lost the first match because just figured going 5-1. There's enough really scary people that were taking losses that I figured I'd get a matchup like this at some point and then, just get unlucky because I'm not, I feel like I had maybe execution equality in maybe 4 of my 6 matches, and then the other 2 against Dark Kobold and Pankraz, I feel like I'm the worst executor. So like I knew I had to get a little bit lucky to get in, and it just didn't happen. And I'm happy with how the tournament went. I felt like I played the best I could. I didn't make any sort of like catastrophic mistakes that make you wanna like that you think about afterwards or whatever. But no, it was just awesome, and it was a really fun time. And I didn't really like the flags when I first started playing them because it's like, oh, this is new and I gotta learn how to do this, and it's a little different. But after a while, I got more and more used to them, and I really had fun playing these flags. Honestly, I'm not sure I would have enjoyed the bracket flags as much. I haven't really played them. Like I've messed around with them a little bit, but I figured there was no point in really getting into them until I was there. And it's just like, I'm not saying they're bad, that's not what I mean by this, but like I kind of like the OP seeds because I like going faster without it being hard. So like having Team Wildish on is right up my alley. This is like what I love. And I have fun playing that other way, but I just don't know that I have as much fun racing it in a 1v1 scenario, but I'm sure it's not going to have fun watching it. So anyways, I've blabbed on long enough. GG's to Pankraz again. He's awesome. Really good dude. Oh, I also wanted to say this too. Sorry, I had this joke saved up for like 3 days. But like, whenever you're in a tournament like this, when your gamer tag is older than your opponent, it's not a good sign. That's probably going to be a big problem for you. And that's the case in this one. And I did my best, and he beat me, and GG's to him again. And yeah, thanks for calming this. I'm going to look forward to watching it back and seeing what I can learn and improve on for the next tournament. And obviously, we're all going to get hooked on ladder moving forward as well. So thanks, everyone.
All right, well, GG's, and definitely you should watch this back. You did really well in this race, and I think you'll be definitely excited to see just how close it was and how you were just basically crossing over your paths, and like times you were just lining up. Like Lunar Whale launch was totally in sync. You got that crystal first. This ended up being a really close race, so very well done. Very nice overall record there. 3-3, still very strong. This is a very strong community with a lot of good runners, so very good to pull out such a good record here.
Hey, thanks, Clubber, and thanks, Tibble, as well. But, like, yeah, and I just want to say that Z fight, that's exactly how I had it planned. Radius surviving with, like, 12 HP and then finishing it off with, like, I don't know, 20 HP or whatever Cecil had. Just perfect, right?
You just need more than 0.
Yeah, exactly. I had the forfeit in chat ready for about the last minute of that fight because I had no confidence that it was going to go my way. I was just stunned when Radius survived that nerf Big Bang when she was on 400 health or whatever she was at. I was like, oh my god, I might actually pull this off. But anyways, that's it for me. Take care. Thanks again, guys, and have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night, Frostbite. With that, we're going to be calling it here, but there's still more racing going on. As Frostbite did mention, there is the ladder starting up on April 19th with a variety of different flags, some geared toward more of a noobish style and more towards like if you want to do brackets. There is a bracket style system in there for the ladder races. But Coupler, where are we gonna send everybody off tonight?
Yeah, so it looks like we'll be sending everyone off to Free Enterprise for another ongoing race right now. Just a quick reminder to everyone in chat, no spoilers about what happened in this race in the next channel. But with that, we will be sending you over to Free Enterprise for that race. I do just want to thank our entire Restream team here, Crimson doing Restream, Neon Grey doing Trekker, and Tybalt joining me here for commentary. And thanks everyone for tuning in today, and definitely be sure to watch more Free Enterprise.
And also thanks to the Randomania Network for allowing us to have these races on their channel, one of our partner channels.